It's 4:30, and this is WKYT This Morning. Kentucky's U.S. Senate candidates meet for their one and only debate of the campaign, and things got heated. We'll recap the debate straight ahead this morning.
Also on WKYT, they call him one of the good guys. Find out how other officers are remembering Louisville Detective Jason Schweitzer coming up.
And a Central Kentucky judge resigns from the office. That story and your Kentucky forecast here on the first day of November, all coming up on WKYT This Morning.
This is WKYT This Morning.
Good morning and welcome in, and it is so good to have you with us on WKYT This Morning. I'm Bill Bryant.
And I'm Andrea Walker. It is Tuesday, November 1st, and we're sitting here like, is it really November?
I think you said it right. It's just not right
just
for it
not
to be
right,
so
y'all.
warm. I mean, near record warmth today, incredible weather. Let's take it while it lasts, right? Meteorologist Micah Harris is on duty in our First Alert Weather Center.
Yeah, and it does feel really nice outside. The good news here is we're not seeing any rain. The rain's really back toward West Virginia and moving away from us. So we're not seeing any rain this morning. Temperatures are there in the 50s and 60s. We're at 65 degrees right now in Jackson, and that goes for Lexington, 63 coming in Montgomery County. We get towards your afternoon. It's near a record, and the record's at 83. Now, it's possible that we actually reach that here in Lexington. We'll see if we top out of that, but nonetheless, it will be much warmer today. Those gusty winds, it's actually a pretty nice feel. That's not all that bad. We'll take you off into tomorrow, still the same story. And then Thursday, we'll actually bring some changes, big changes into Friday and into your weekend. I'll show you that in just a few minutes.
Okay, we'll see you then. Let's get to the news.
Voters will head to the polls 1 week from today, and Kentucky U.S. Senate candidates met for their first and only debate of the campaign last night.
Incumbent Republican Senator Rand Paul and his Democratic challenger, Lexington Mayor Jim Gray, appeared on KET's Kentucky Tonight, and their conversation turned heated at times. WKYT's Garrett Weimer has more on the debate.
For being here.
It didn't take long for Jim Gray to attack, hitting Rand Paul right out of the gate.
It's perfect on Halloween night because Senator Paul is starting out with Halloween scare tactics. He wants us to believe that his wild-ass theories and philosophies are the remedies for everything.
Paul largely didn't take the bait, but the two did spar briefly when Gray again criticized Paul for running for president.
I mean, you got an enormous hole in the middle of Lexington. It's been there your entire tenure. You've been there 8 years, and it's like you're talking about something that doesn't exist, and here you are running for 2 offices. Why don't you take a pledge to do your job as mayor?
Mostly, though, the debate focused on issues ranging from the economy to national security, student debt, and the opioid epidemic, just to name a few. And, of course, the candidates weighed in on the presidential race.
I am the Democratic nominee for the Senate, and I support the nominee of our party.
Senator Paul supporting Donald Trump for president?
Yes. And the reason is that I think it'd be better for Kentucky.
The two also disagreed on the top issue facing Kentucky voters.
I kind of jokingly will tell people sometimes that number 1, number 2, and number 3 is the debt.
Jobs, jobs, and jobs. We're not growing our economy at the rate it should.
Both candidates talked about the importance of balancing a budget, though they disagreed on how to get it done. In Lexington, Garrett Weimer, WKYT.
Senator Paul also said that he could not imagine voting for a Supreme Court nominee from Hillary Clinton, but he stopped short of saying that he would block any appointment. Gray said the Senate should have given President Obama's nominee a hearing.
People who knew him call him one of the good guys. They're remembering a Louisville police officer who died in Lexington over the weekend. Lexington police say a car driven by a suspected drunk driver hit and killed Detective Jason Schweitzer and UK employee Timothy Moore on South Upper Street early Saturday morning. Now, as WKYT's Monique Blair reports, the president of the Fraternal Order of Police in Louisville is talking about the detective.
We truly did lose one of the good guys.
Detective Jason Schweitzer was a 15-year veteran of the Louisville Metro Police Department, in addition to serving as vice president of the Fraternal Order of Police Lodge for several years. The FOP was something he was born into, as his father is also a longtime member.
And Jason would be here as a young kid, you know, washing dishes or just hanging out.
River City FOP President Sergeant Dave Mulcher says Schweitzer was a passionate detective, but what he loved more than his job was his family.
And we all got to be part of that, you know, with him and Jessica, and getting married and having their young daughter. And of course, he's very excited. They just recently found out that you know, they were going to have a son.
On Saturday, Schweitzer was in Lexington attending a statewide FOP convention. He had just left a concert and was looking to get something to eat. That's when he and another Louisville officer stopped Timothy Moore to ask him for directions. Police believe Suzanne Whitlow was driving drunk when she hit Schweitzer and Moore, ultimately killing them.
He and Mr. Moore were simply being human beings and living their life, and in a heartbeat. That's gone.
Schweitzer's funeral will be held tomorrow afternoon at 1 o'clock at St. Michael Catholic Church in Louisville.
Friends talked to us about the other man who was killed in that crash, UK employee Timothy Moore. He worked third shift at UK's central heating plant. Moore was a Navy veteran. Friends say he was proud of serving his country and proud of his family, which included 3 children and 12 grandchildren.
He showed the picture of his kids getting married, his sons getting married. Couldn't stop talking about them. I asked, how old are they? And what can they tell me? He must have talked about them for 3 hours. I loved every minute of it.
Moore worked for UK for 14 years. The university brought in grief counselors to help out employees there.
A WKYT investigation looked into the criminal history of the suspect, Suzanne Whitlow. Lexington police charged her with manslaughter and DUI following the crash. Court records show she was also charged with DUI in Lexington in August of 2014. Records say Whitlow didn't show up for a hearing that October, and police obtained a warrant for her arrest. Police arrested her again in January of this year on probation violation and non-payment of fine charges. In July, the court ordered her to go to a substance abuse education treatment program. Records show she completed the program just last month.
We're tracking a big story in Alabama this morning. Authorities there say at least 7 workers have been injured in a pipeline explosion. It happened along the Colonial Pipeline in Shelby County, Alabama, that is near Birmingham. The blast sent flames and thick black smoke high above the surrounding forest. Houses nearby have been evacuated. Investigators are not sure what caused the explosion. It happened about a mile west of where the pipeline ruptured last month, which led to gas shortages and to some price spikes in parts of the South. Colonial has now shut down its main pipeline in that area.
Clay County's judge executive has resigned 2 months after a grand jury indicted him. Joe Asher announced his resignation yesterday afternoon, which is effective immediately. In August, a grand jury indicted him and a former road foreman, Buford Jarvis, on charges of abuse of public trust, bribery, and possession of a forged instrument. Earlier this month, the Clay County Sheriff opened a new investigation revolving around money Jarvis allegedly gave Asher. Governor Bevin will appoint a new Clay County judge executive.
Investigators still are not sure what led to a deadly shooting along a Powell County road. State police say David Rogers was driving on Mountain Springs Road Sunday afternoon when a bullet came through his car's windshield and hit him. When police arrived, they say Rogers' car was stopped in the middle of the road but was still in drive. At this point, police don't know who fired the shot or where it came from. They say they are trying to find witnesses.
Mainly trying to get information for people who might have been with him earlier in the day or the night before, prior to him being found deceased.
Some of Rogers' family lives near where he was shot. His brother told us off camera the shooting has devastated the family.
The Scott County Sheriff's Office is looking for a truck investigators think is connected to a burglary. The sheriff says the surveillance video shows the dark blue GMC truck they want to find. Investigators say the suspect drove this truck to an outbuilding. It was broken into yesterday morning.
WKYT this morning, just getting started. It is 4:39. A lot more to tell you about here on this Tuesday morning.
Still ahead, as you know, Election Day is just 1 week from today, and many presidential supporters are involved in a sign war. That story is coming up right after Micah's forecast.
We're getting into the afternoon, possible record-breaking temperatures not only today but tomorrow as well. We're going to go into that. I'll show you a big change later on in the work week too. That's in your forecast up next.
Now, your hour-by-hour forecast with meteorologist Micah Harris.
It's really a pretty nice start to the day. I mean, we walk outside early this morning. We might not need a coat, maybe a light sweater, but that's about it. By the afternoon, trust me on this, nobody will need a sweater and nobody will need a coat whatsoever. You may have to have some short sleeve shirts and also some shorts on because we're going to be right there in the 80s later on this afternoon for most areas. 65 degrees right now in Lexington as you walk out the door. It's a really nice feel. I can speak for that one. 63 now in Montgomery County, Bath County, and also Clark County. Winchester, good morning to you guys. Frankfort coming in at 61 degrees. 80 by the afternoon. Now the record high is 83. We'll see if we'll actually reach that. Those gusty winds, those usually play a little trick there on the forecast typically because you get those wind gusts in here from the south and southwest, 10, 20 miles per hour. Then you're talking about bumping those temperatures up just a little bit more than what these models typically indicate. So nonetheless, it's going to be warm today. 75 there by 8 p.m. if you're heading out to the ball fields, and go overnight and into tomorrow morning, pretty much the same story. It's just what we went through last night and early this morning. We got some late week changes. So today and tomorrow, possible record-breaking temperatures. Then we hit Thursday, and Thursday will bring us a rain chance. Now, it's not widespread, but it is a rain chance, and some of us could get some heavy downpours out of this as it funnels on through. I've got a 40% chance of rain in the forecast right now in my 7-day. We'll see if that bumps up just a little bit as we get a little bit closer with better confidence. But we're very confident in this. The best rain chance, really the only rain chance, is on Thursday. Then once that pushes on through, then you're talking about some chilly air filtering on in there for Friday. Off towards your weekend, it will be much cooler than what you're feeling now, but it's going to be right around average. It's really Friday that's going to be very chilly. And this may be the coolest air that we have felt for Friday night football in quite some time. So just keep in mind, here comes some chilly air if you're one of those that really just want it. Here's your 7-day forecast. Next couple of days, they're in the 80s. And then we get off towards your Thursday. There's your rain chance Friday. That's what I'm talking about. 56 degrees there on Friday for a high. Go off into your Saturday, Sunday. We're sitting back in the low to mid 60s. So all in all, this is a good looking forecast. We're still not looking at a lot of rain. This is the same pattern we've been in for the past 3 to 4 weeks, where we have that rain chance on Thursday, then it clears on out, brings us cooler air. But you're still talking about temperatures right around average. So really, it's Friday that's going to be very chilly. Other than that, guys, it's not all that bad. It's a pretty good looking forecast.
I know, I like it.
We'll take it. Yeah.
80s in November are just
I know, it's
crazy.
Absolutely crazy. Last night was crazy, walking around the neighborhoods.
Beautiful.
It's beautiful weather.
Ahead of the game, aren't we? All right, 4:45 the time, 4:45 on WKYT, and from a Trump yard sign that delivers a shock if you touch it to one rigged with a green fishing line to trip up would-be thieves.
We're talking about the defensive techniques Trump supporters are using to stop their yard signs from getting swiped. CNN's Jeannie Most reports on the Trump sign wars.
Trump signs aren't just being stolen. This one went up in flames, torched by a guy in his underwear in Platteville, Wisconsin. The sign's owners were burned up, especially when they recognized Mr. Underwear.
Oh, I think that's our neighbor, our tenant.
Now, ex-tenant. So many Trump signs are being swiped that yard sign defense techniques are being deployed. Like using bike chain lubricant to make them slippery and messy, or worse yet, try dog poop, or replace your signs with something they can't steal.
I'm going to keep cutting it like this till Trump's elected.
An Indianapolis man used fishing wire and string spray-painted green to fasten down his Trump sign.
She loses her footing and lost her grip, and she went flying.
When one sign stealer gave up, the owner followed him.
Shoves me with both hands, knocks me down.
Another owner electrified his sign to zap a would-be thief. You hear less about Hillary signs being swiped, though this Florida woman has to bring her signs in at night. And this woman had someone come up to her door.
Why are you voting for that? And she pointed to my sign. And I was totally appalled.
Talk about a game of cat and mouse. Imagine using a mouse trap to protect your Trump sign. New Hampshire State Representative Gary Hopper calls sign stealers
the liberal commie scum
and demonstrates with a disclaimer.
But I want to tell you something you shouldn't do.
Don't hook a 6-volt battery up to a mouse trap and then to firecrackers so when someone moves the sign. But even worse than stealing signs, who would abscond with a cardboard cutout of the Donald? Cut it out, people. This is shocking. Jeannie Most, CNN. New York.
How crazy is that? Those were Kind of hilarious.
What a year, huh?
Right.
All
What
right.
a year. It's almost over, people. We're almost there.
One more week. All right, when WKYT This Morning returns, we have more news for you coming up here on your Tuesday.
Still ahead on WKYT, the FBI's renewed investigation is getting plenty of attention on the campaign trail. The latest on campaign 2016 when we come back on WKYT This Morning. Welcome back, everybody. It is 4:50 on your Tuesday, and we are 1 week until the election, and the FBI's renewed investigation into Hillary Clinton's email practices continues to make headlines.
Both Democrats and Republicans are expressing anger and shock at the timing, and the investigation is getting plenty of attention out on the campaign trail. Craig Boswell has the latest on campaign 2016.
Hillary Clinton told supporters in Ohio the FBI has no case when it comes to her emails.
I know they will reach the same conclusion they reached when they looked at my emails last year, right?
Agents are scrubbing what could be hundreds of thousands of emails found on former New York Congressman Anthony Weiner's laptop. Weiner is the estranged husband of Clinton confidant Huma Abedin. He is being investigated for allegedly sending sexually explicit messages to an underage girl.
Thank you, Anthony. I never liked you, Anthony. I never liked you, but thank you very much.
Donald Trump focused on the issue while campaigning in Michigan.
If Hillary is elected, she would be under protracted criminal investigation, likely followed by the trial of a sitting president. This is just what we need.
Clinton stopped short of going after FBI Director James Comey, who announced the investigation Friday.
Why in the world the FBI would decide to jump into an election without evidence of any wrongdoing with just days to go? That's a really good question.
President Obama goes back out on the campaign trail for Clinton Tuesday. The White House is neither defending nor condemning Comey's action.
The president doesn't believe that Director Comey is intentionally trying to influence the outcome of an election.
The Justice Department informed Congress it will work closely with the FBI to quickly review any emails that may be relevant to the Clinton investigation. Craig Boswell, CBS News, the White House.
And a former FBI official told CBS News it is highly unlikely the investigation will be finished before Election Day.
All right, switching gears now. Superheroes, princesses, Jedi Knights, and others took over the streets of Lexington for Halloween last night.
A lot of fun right
yeah.
out there. Kids all across the Bluegrass had some great weather for trick-or-treating. We caught up with a few of them going door to door in the Glendover neighborhood near Nicholasville Road.
My favorite thing about trick-or-treating is the haunted house in our neighborhood. Yes, you get to be out with a lot of friends and see a lot of neat costumes.
I think one time I got like gum and toys. It's fun to trade off.
That you get all this candy. And that you get to stay up late.
All right.
Cute.
Extra bonus, right? If your children don't feel like eating all the candy they got, you can take some of it to Fayette Mall Dental. For every pound of candy you bring in, you'll receive $1. The candy will be given to first responders. So there you go.
Kids missed out at my house last night. We had 2 giant buckets of good candy, the good candy, and not a single trick-or-treater.
Oh my
we were
goodness.
saying if we had had just one, we would have given it all to them. But you know what?
They did miss
missed
out.
the jackpot, guys.
So now you can bring it into work. How
I
about
know.
that?
I'm probably going to have to. I need to get it away from me.
Coming next, we'll have a look at some of the news stories our team is working on for you here on this Tuesday morning.
And we'll have another look at your Kentucky forecast coming right up.
Welcome back in WKYT This Morning. We're live at 4:57 almost here on your Tuesday morning.
And it is so good to have you with us. Now we're going to take a look at some of the stories we're working on for you this morning.
Visitation will start today for fallen Louisville Police Detective Jason Schweitzer. He and UK employee Timothy Moore both died over the weekend in Lexington. We're looking ahead to their services. This, of course, was the pedestrian accident involving an alleged drunk driver. We'll have the story coming up at the top of the hour on WKYT This Morning.
All right, now let's get a quick look at your forecast as we head into the 5 o'clock hour. It looks like it's going to be a nice one.
Really nice, especially when you start off with an average high temperature. Average high here in Lexington and really surrounding areas are there in the low to mid 60s depending on where you live. And we're sitting there in the low to mid 60s across central and northern zones, even some down toward the southeast. Jackson coming in at 65 degrees, so you know it's going to be warm. 80 degrees by the afternoon. Near record highs with a mixture of sun and clouds and gusty winds. We'll do that again tomorrow. And then big changes on Thursday into Friday. We'll have that in another 2 hours at WKYT News.